Hi, good evening. This is Dr. Mark Sell of the YouTube channel Therapy for the Heart. Tonight I'm going to talk about what Therapy for the Heart has been doing. I call it a one-year report after I created the channel and created several playlists. You can find different playlists on the channel if you scroll down under videos. The other playlists are street music, where I prance around New York. I don't prance, but I go around the village and take videos of street musicians. I'm an old band player, trumpet player, and concert and dance band, and also took Occupy Wall Street. It's all about free speak, psychotherapy, Occupy Wall Street, and street music. Get out there and be able to demonstrate your skills freely. But this playlist is about what makes for a good therapy session. The mission of the channel Therapy for the Heart was to get the word out about psychotherapy and psychoanalysis so people could feel less alienated by these treatment approaches. I particularly wanted to spread the word about modern psychoanalysis, since Spotnitz to this day is seldom mentioned in contemporary literature. There was an article in the Sunday Times entitled, "What Brand is Your Therapist?" The article mentioned struggling therapists and offered some suggestions about how therapists could be helped to build their practice. One of the ways mentioned was to encourage practitioners to present themselves as consultants, and in this way making them approachable and more user-friendly. There's many attitudes that people have about psychoanalysis. Some are warranted because of the way psychoanalysis was, I think, practiced back in the day and still is. Other things mentioned were disclosing personal information on a website, finding specialties, becoming a life coach, writing happiness locator, quote unquote, on a conference tag rather than psychotherapist, and offering instant messaging therapy, and hiring a consultant. A few years ago, I remembered an article was written that described how intake in this community, I think it was in Africa, was greatly increased by talking about how stress in people's lives could affect them in a detrimental way. And stress was much more acceptable than, "Are you feeling depressed? Come in for a consultation." And that greatly increased the intake, and I think it's warranted some attention as to how to advertise your services in terms of what you're going to work with. And stress is a good one. Everybody experiences stress. Just a picture in an ad can increase the potential for exposure by 25%. So this is not a seminar on how to increase your practice, but that certainly is a good tip. For myself, I am sticking with the label psychoanalyst, psychotherapist, although I have my areas of specialties. I like the work I do, and I work hard to make these therapy videos interesting so that the interest in the viewer can be maintained, and the viewer can be given some sense of what therapy is like as I perceive it. In some of the talks, I make a differentiation between classical psychoanalysis and modern psychoanalysis because the public has a one-sided understanding of this profession. A common perception still held is that one has to be in treatment 3 to 4 times a week for the treatment to be called psychoanalysis. Fortunately, with the passage of the new licensing law in New York and in some other states, frequent sessions per week is no longer the requirement for good psychoanalytic training. As a consequence, quote, "Now a more diverse group of patients can afford to be in psychoanalysis, and a larger group of students can afford training." This was a quote from an article that I wrote that was published in the New York Times, letter to the editor. You can find that on my website. I want to add here for the public to know that one can train as a psychoanalyst, and you don't have to have a degree in social work or psychology or psychiatry. You can have any master's degree for the most part and enter a training program that's certified to give a license in psychoanalysis. To get back to the mission of this channel, how has it gone so far? One way to address this is to mention the total number of views. I've had 18,850 since last November. That's of the channel What Makes for a Good Therapy Session, not including the other channels, Occupy Wall Street and Street Music, combined, there's more than 53,000 views. I'm very happy about that. And I love what I do, so it's nice to love what you do. Another way to do this is by having the outcome of therapy for the heart. I like that name, therapy for the heart. Is to tell you about comments from followers on this channel. I have quite a few followers, and they regularly make comments. Some of them do anyway, and then I answer their questions and answer their comments. For instance, one person said after hearing the video she was more inclined to go into treatment. That was a success on my part, because she was wary about therapy and then decided to go into treatment after listening to one of the tapes. Another person wrote in saying that by listening to the talks about countertransference, she was able to extricate herself from a damaging relationship that she was in with her therapist. The New York Times article, "What Brand is Your Therapist?" mentions the practitioners revealing personal aspects of themselves, making them more human. This can be tricky with transference. But in my tapes, knowledge that a therapist can have feelings of love and hate, which may interfere with treatment until understood, took the onus off this woman as being the blame for the failed treatment. You can check videos 8 and 9, I believe. You probably looked at those videos, because that's where the talk about countertransference is mostly. Well, it's throughout all the videos, but it's certainly in there. Somewhat related to this, because of the debates among therapists about gratifying patients and revealing feelings, it occurred to me one time in class during my classical training in psychoanalysis. I asked a question of the instructor: are there any circumstances where a therapist may answer a question as to whether the therapist is married or not? The teacher responded, "Mr. Sell, if you can ask a question like that, you know nothing about psychoanalysis." Interesting. If you can ask a question like that, well, aren't we there to ask questions to discover what we know and what we don't know? And you know nothing about psychoanalysis? Rather extreme. Well, success is the best revenge. I'm proud to say that I published a paper entitled "Stalemates in Therapy and the Notion of Gratification" in the Psychoanalytic Review. The Psychoanalytic Review was established in 1913 and is the oldest continuously published psychoanalytic journal in the world. You can find a downloaded version of this paper on my website. Tapes 8 and 9 are about that paper, and it's an extensive treatment of a woman who was with me for quite some time. I want to come back to the followers of the channel and what they have to say. Quote, "I really appreciate the empathy and understanding you have for the internal vulnerability of the patient and the safe and respectful space you create for patients processing concerns and issues in their own pace." And I emphasize in their own pace. The experience of somebody accepting you and allowing you to freely be and express yourself is truly transformative and liberating. I can sense your good heart and grounded maturity, and I love your presentation. I also have a question that I would appreciate to hear your take on, and I do respond to questions as long as I can answer them. One student purchased the Red Book. That was another success on my part, because in my talking about the Red Book, which I do mention in the tapes, that's Dr. Hyman Spotnitz's Modern Psychoanalysis of the Schizophrenic Patient, Theory of the Technique. And by the way, it is not by any means only about schizophrenia. Spotnitz called it modern psychoanalysis because he believed psychoanalysis could be applied to any reversible mental illness. From my perspective, Spotnitz's theory of what causes mental illness and the treatment techniques helped me with all my patients. Here are some more quotes from channel followers. "I'm a psychotherapy student here in New Zealand and really enjoyed your authenticity and lovely, genuine nature. I took a lot from this video, thanks." And I think I am genuine. I am genuine. I think that comes through, and not talking down to people, not being too intellectualized about what I have to say. So I make it down to earth. And I like that about myself. I'll give myself a pat on the back. I am studying a master's in counseling psychology in Australia and have found your posts very helpful, informative, and interesting to listen to. So it's international. Greetings, I am a future student of psychoanalysis. You're doing a great job by creating these videos. They really helped me understand what working with people is really like. Keep it up. Sometimes I'm all thumbs. This is one of them. I'm not going to lick the paper. So one student purchased the red book. Oh, I said that already. Excuse me, got to go back. So this is another quote from a follower. And I don't edit these tapes because I allow the mistakes to remain. Maybe it'd be a good idea to edit them where I can take out my fumbling around. On the other hand, I like them the way they are because this is what you see is what you get. So another quote: "Our world needs to remember what psychotherapy is, how it works, and how it can help. Relationship and trust are so vital to emotional healing. Thank you for this conversation." Quote: "I am really enjoying the program. I am learning a lot, and suddenly undergrad is starting to make sense." That's a smile. Smile. "Our amazing theories of counseling lecturer Dr. Pietro Rousseau showed the class your first posts, and that's how I heard about therapy for the heart." That's nice. Quote: "I would like to thank Dr. Sell for these wonderful talks. I am an adjunct professor at Rutgers Graduate School of Social Work. I have incorporated the talks into my course offered for some time now, and reaction from my students has been incredibly powerful. The gentle authenticity and basic language in which Dr. Sell presents some of the most complicated concepts in psychoanalysis helps students connect with and develop an interest for this way of working. Thank you, Dr. Sell. Please continue." As a matter of fact, I met this gentleman at a conference, and the minute I walked into the room, he recognized me from the tapes and said, "Hi, how are you?" And I says, "Oh, how do I know you? It's nice to meet you, but how do I know you?" And he says, "Well, I recognize you from the tapes." And really nice meeting. And he wanted me to come and talk to his class, which I will be doing at some point. I saved this comment for the last. The comment occurred after a series of exchanges between myself and a follower. Me, in response to something she said. I said, "Oh, I see. I hope these talks will help you in considering your future career. Thank you for responding. Is it okay that I'm an enigma?" She said, "LOL. Yes, it's okay that you are a modern-day Merlin. I just need to know the mechanics of how everything works, why therapy works, what is the theory behind the practice, why people are drawn to become psychotherapists. It is not an easy job. I'm too inquisitive, I think." And then there was a colon and a big capital D, which is a big smile. Me, I write, "Oh, a modern-day Merlin? LOL. I like that. I like your curiosity. I think you may consider being more inquisitive." Colon, happy smile. Although once irritated by the happy smiles and different kinds of ways of expressing oneself through this medium, I have become used to it and now enjoy it. LOL and happy and sad faces, and the colon, big D, which is a big smile. I thank my younger followers and friends, and some are not so young, and also followers on Facebook, friends, for helping me along with my understanding of this language, which, as I said before, I also enjoy. I'm going to sign off now. Psychotherapy videos is my brand, and I like that brand. I'm learning a lot from doing the videos. I've never done these things before, previous to this year, and I'm going to continue to do it. I enjoy making them and enjoy the contact, and this is most important, probably the contact that it provides me. It's a little bit of a lonely profession sometimes, and when I speak or write to people and listen to their comments and then respond to them, that is very enjoyable. So thank you, followers of YouTube. I appreciate it greatly. So if you like this talk, press the like button if you have a YouTube account, and it's very easy to open up a YouTube account if you have a Gmail account, and then you can get uploaded all these videos. I'm sure you look forward to that. And if not, you can always find this channel by just entering Mark Sell on the YouTube browser, and you'll find it. So again, thank you, and I'm going to sign off for now. All right, bye-bye.